Hello, everyone, and happy Wednesday. Thank you all very much for joining. I am Jillian Glover, the Marketing Manager for the Cyber Protection Program, and I will be helping Jason today during the webinar. Just a few announcements before I do hand it over to Jason. This webinar is being recorded and will be available on our website later this week. You will receive a copy of the presentation along with the streaming link via email. And finally, please note that the lines are muted, so if you have questions, do please utilize the questions chat box. I will relay all questions to Jason at the end of the presentation. Okay, and now I will hand it over to Jason, our Senior Cyber Underwriting Manager. Go ahead, Jason.
Thank you, Jillian. I also want to thank you all for your offer of time this afternoon and joining us for this month's installment in our Cyber Liability webinar series. For this one, we kind of wanted to go back to the beginning. The goal is to kind of reintroduce some of the core components of our policy and our program overall to those of you who are familiar to us, and introduce ourselves and our cyber product and program to our new agents and new audience. The goal today is pretty simple. I really want to give just kind of a little bit of philosophical history and background to what our program is. I think it'll help folks to have a better understanding of what we're trying to accomplish here. Just detail a couple of differentiators between our program and some of our competitors. Do a quick walkthrough of what our broker portal is, which I think is a core tenet of our program. And then, of course, address a couple of recent claims experiences, because that's part of any good, fun cyber conversation. And then lastly, of course, open the floor to any questions that anyone may have on what we're trying to do here. So this program is, I think, pretty unique. I've been with a couple of MGAs, MGUs, and this is a really unique solution, primarily because it began as a true partnership between Victor O'Shinner and ACE. This isn't a scenario where a market offered the 10 on a limited class or an area of a specific territory. This was a partnership from day one between ACE, now Chubb, and Victor O'Shinner to deliver a unique cyber insurance product and access solution to deliver cyber insurance to the small and mid-sized business space. ACE has been doing cyber liability insurance since this line of business has begun. 12 years ago when I launched my first program, there were only about 4 markets on the street offering cyber insurance, and even then ACE was the leader in cyber insurance. But that said, their focus has always been on larger insureds, Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 maybe, primarily larger corporations, larger insureds, and they didn't have the product nor the access solution to deliver cyber insurance to the rapidly emerging small business space. So enter in Victor O'Shinner. We presented to them a dynamic solution to deliver both the product and the access for small and mid-sized businesses. And as ACE has since merged with Chubb, it still has a very unique and valuable position in the overall Chubb family space, and providing a monoline cyber insurance product to this very defined small business space. So from day one, we built this cyber insurance policy form and solution with a strict focus on what the small and mid-sized business cyber needs. And I wanted to break down what three product items that was an item of our focus on this. And these are, the first being, our breach response was offered on a pay-on-behalf basis. So most traditional cyber insurance policies are offered on an indemnification format, and ACE's specifically was offered in an indemnification format, meaning that they will reimburse or make whole the insured following that breach event and breach response. And that was the adequate offering for a larger insured who didn't really want a carrier to step in and deliver on their behalf the cyber needs. They wanted to retain control over the breach response and anything that was necessary that they underwent. A small business lacks the time, the treasure, and the access to actually deliver these breach responses. So the first thing that we built on our policy was to ensure that the data breach response was offered on a duty to defend, pay on behalf basis. And building onto that, we went to build a data breach team to deliver the breach response on behalf of the insured. So we went out and contracted with some of the leading service providers in the cyber insurance breach response space and the cyber protection industry, and assembled it basically just a response team that is available at a moment's notice to deliver the services necessary to make an insured whole again. That includes both legal, forensic, public relations, whatever it is that's necessary. That outreach team is at the ready to deliver. And then lastly, we wanted to address key coverage gaps that we were observing that small businesses were facing. Most small businesses, their insurance products are traditional BOP or a traditional, basically a traditional insurance products. And as small businesses move to a more technology-reliant existence, coverage gaps were popping up. Most notable one that we have observed was the internet media risk. Most small businesses rely on their advertising injury component of their GL policy to address their promotional exposures. This is simply inadequate because that traditional product does not cover their social media presence, does not cover much of copyright infringement that they face, and doesn't cover any content that they are putting out on the web that is not actively promoting their business. So if they're writing blogs, if they're commenting on the industry, those wouldn't qualify as an advertisement under a traditional policy. So we, of course, sought to address that with our internet media coverage part. The other coverage gap that we identified that was specific to small business was the cybercrime space. So we developed a cybercrime insurance component to address the loss of the insured's own funds or money following an unauthorized access event causing a manipulation of funds transfer instruction, or if the insured was tricked or deceived to release funds to the wrong party. We wanted to make sure that was addressed in our policy. And then we went out and filed our product, and we have obtained admitted status in 47 states and counting, and DC, that offers significant safety and stability that is necessary for small businesses insurance. So the natural question is, so what are small and mid-sized businesses? That's a pretty valid question because it really is a different definition to everyone. But to us, in our program, we classify these as pretty much any business out there with revenues between $0 and $150 million. I personally would love to have a small business with revenues of $150 million, but that is what we classify as a small business. And I just gave a quick sampling of what what classes of business and groups of business we are actively pursuing for cyber insurance. First and foremost being nonprofits, anything from adoption agencies to social service agencies to mental health providers to even churches. Anything that is a nonprofit, we are able to consider for cyber liability insurance. Manufacturers and distributors of products are an excellent candidate. We can do schools, that would be K through 12, and municipalities. And municipalities also include supporting service providers like fire protection districts, police protection districts, counties, all of which would qualify under our program. Professional service providers. This will be anything running the gamut from real estate agencies, title agencies, lawyers, accountants, any professional miscellaneous liability consultants. Pretty much anybody who's delivering a professional service to clients is a class that we can consider. Retail operations. This includes restaurant and hotels. Any bricks and mortar retail restaurants and hotels would qualify as a eligible insured under our program. And of course, the healthcare industry. The healthcare industry was one of the earliest adopters of cyber insurance, but a lot of the ancillary and smaller service providers, so I'm talking your dentists, your optometrists, your surgery centers, all those little miscellaneous healthcare service providers are great options and great fits for cyber insurance. We only have a few prohibited classes under our program, and these prohibited classes are generally for pretty good reason. The first one being technology service providers. And the reason this is a prohibited class is that their technology service that they're delivering to clients and their cyber risk are one and the same, since they're an unauthorized access event or a breach event is going to obviously impact the client, and the client is going to bring suit for negligent delivery of services and privacy injury. And a monoline cyber product such as ours is not a good fit. So a technology service provider is simply best suited under a technology errors and omissions policy form, bundling their services and cyber risk onto the same. Banks and credit unions are a prohibited class for us, and that's because, again, their cyber risk and their professional exposure should be bundled on the same product, because their cyber risk is a core tenet of their overall operations. We cannot do credit card processing industry or data storage industry insureds. Again, their services and cyber risks are one and the same and must be bundled together. And then we can't do casinos or adult content, collection agencies or credit bureaus. Those are just classes that we are unable to consider. But for the most part, the vast majority of Main Street businesses with revenues below $150 million qualify for consideration under our program. So it's a natural question, are we just yet another cyber market? I do consider it to be a bit exhausting. There are, I think that the account of cyber markets is now over 100. Makes it exceptionally hard to identify value-added markets and value-added products out there. But I think that we have a couple of key differentiators that our program and our offering really separates us from most of our competitors. The first is we truly have a focused target market. A lot of the cyber markets out there, they are wanting to be all cyber for all comers. They want to be primary and access. They want to be small business and they want to be large public corporations. They want to be healthcare service providers and they want to be technology service providers. And that makes it exceptionally hard for finding a true product that directly addresses the needs of a small business. Secondly, so we have focused from day one till now on the specific cyber needs and production needs for the small business space. Secondly, we have a very innovative submission strategy. We recognize that the placement of monoline cyber insurance for small business is exceptionally hard for agents out there. And not only are you selling a new product to a small business which already has a limited insurance budget, but also our average premium on our program is about $2,300. An agency simply must be as streamlined as possible in order to make the placement of this cyber product viable. So we recognize that and have created a very innovative submission strategy and solution, which I'll detail a little bit further in the next slide, but it is a key component of what our overall program offers. And lastly, we developed from day one a comprehensive policy form. Now, this isn't some watered-down solution. This isn't a budget insurance product. Even though our pricing is, of course, low, it's not a limited feature solution. I would proudly place our product up against any of the traditional market leaders as a valid product of consideration, and it has some really unique coverage components, mostly because of our strict focus on the small business needs. And lastly, the real differentiator between us and pretty much every other MGA and even other markets is that we are backed by one of the strongest markets in the industry, and that is ACE, now Chubb. Their claims handling reputation is second to none. They have a name recognition across all industries and individuals because many are familiar with their personal lines products. And they have paper strength that is just indisputable. So when you combine admitted status and Chubb paper, it definitely is worthy of consideration. So the innovative submission strategy. This is something I really enjoy talking about because I think it is extraordinarily important for agents to consider when they're trying to think about what markets would work for them if they wish to present cyber insurance to their agents, to their insureds. The industry statistics bear out about 1/3 of penetration to the market for the sale of cyber insurance. And for small businesses, I would actually estimate the actual current penetration rate to be less than 20%. So basically, 4 out of 5 insureds are currently non-cyber buyers. So you're always going to be presenting a product as a first-time solution to these buyers. That's a really hard. That's hard on an agent. So we want to really try and reduce some of those hurdles in accomplishing this. The two primary hurdles that I have observed in this presentation of cyber insurance to small businesses is the application and the time obligation on the agent. So to address the application hurdle, we basically sought to eliminate the whole concept of the application and the obligation of the application for most of our insureds. So what we have introduced is what we classify as the broker questionnaire. So our goal was to allow an agent to obtain a bindable cyber indication utilizing information that they already have on pretty much every insured that they write. So all that they need to do, and you can see a little image on the side over here, All that they need of an insured is their named insured, the address, the revenues, the number of employees, number of locations, and the NAIC code. That is the class code which we build our rates off of. That's all that you need in order to obtain a bindable indication on pretty much every business under the sun with revenues under $150 million. For many of our insureds, about 70% of the accounts that we've bound, the client confirmation statement that the insured will have to complete in order to bind has no mandatory technology questions. So we don't require of the insured for about 70% of our book of business to complete a single technology process or procedure question. Our bindable indications include the questionnaire right on the app, on the indication, and the insured will merely have to affirm the information which the broker has already input, sign a handful of warranties, and sign and return to bind. That's all that's necessary in order to bind a cyber policy. And for a couple of tougher classes of business, we do require a slightly more comprehensive application. The tougher classes would be, say, like a healthcare provider, a retail operation, a hotel. We do require a little bit more comprehensive an application. Yet it is still, in my opinion, a very painless app. There's only about 8 questions that have any technology procedure or a process element to it, and they are yes, no, and not applicable. So that's pretty easy to do. So the broker questionnaire we designed as an intent to reduce the time hurdle problem that every agent faces in presenting cyber insurance. Traditionally, an agent would be forced to discuss the cyber insurance concept with their insured, then obtain an application, go out to market, obtain terms, present the terms, try and sell the terms, get the insured to re-sign the application, and then resubmit to the market for binding. That's exhausting, and a lot of touches on what I've mentioned is about $2,300 average premium policy. It's not time sensitive for an agency to do that. So our goal was to eliminate that entirely. We wanted to allow an agent to obtain proactive, bindable indications, whether via a broker questionnaire or our online portal, which I'll go through a brief detail here shortly. So they can eliminate all those touches down to one meeting. So you'll be able to introduce in one presentation to your insured the concept of cyber insurance, the pricing and the terms of cyber insurance, and the application that's necessary for them to simply sign and return in order to bind that cyber insurance. So we hope that between our unique submission strategy and that this eliminates the application problems and the time problems that is faced by every agent in placing cyber insurance. So our broker portal, this is basically our electronic version of the broker questionnaire. It is a very simple portal, very easy to complete, and I'll go through here shortly. But all agents that work with Victor Oceaner are eligible for access. It's not something that's only for target agencies or elite service providers. If you have 1 policy or 100 policies with us, we would love for you to access our broker portal and hopefully obtain some bindable cyber indications. Approximately 70% of our book of business that we have written to date qualifies for a bindable cyber indication on all these in a mere matter of minutes. Most of our agents report a time frame of about 3 to 5 minutes when it's functioning to obtain a bindable indication on those insureds. And that, of course, allows you that flexibility and opportunity to deliver, again, the cyber insurance concept, product, and price, and the binding application all in once. So I'm going to try and hop over here real quick and access the broker portal. So once you've registered for the broker portal, there's a little web link that you need to access to get on there. It's, like I said, it's pretty easy, pretty painless solution. You'll be given a username and password. Oops. Not for the site. There we go. So it'll launch you in once there you connect. So this is your primary dashboard. This is what you'll see once you log in to the broker portal. You have the opportunity to obtain a builder's risk quote, which is another webinar, but we'll be happy to talk to you if you're interested, or obtain the cyber protection indication. So again, all you need to do is you click this little button that looks like a computer. It'll launch you into basically the electronic version of a broker questionnaire. So to kind of display of just how simple it is, I'm going to enter in the imaginary Jason Bucher Realty office, which is located here in Overland Park. You'll seem to get, so there's the name insured and the address that you need, the phone number. You don't have to do a fax number. We are not that old. Number of employees, the number of locations. Mine's a relatively small operation with 20 employees in just one location. If you have the Dun & Bradstreet number, that's wonderful. If you don't need to enter it in. The annual revenue. This is a little bit of a hiccup. Our program rates the program off of overall revenues, and we do break it down by millions. Since my business is not particularly large, I just generate $2 million in revenue. So you just put in a simple 2. Now this is where you'll need the NAIC code. If you don't know the NAIC code right off the top of your head, we have a very simple little search function right here that will assist you. Click that little radio button, then you search by general description. Real estate, search. You got to find the class of business. Offices of real estate agents and brokers. You'll click on that little number. It'll input the NAIC code in there. And then you would enter, at this point you would enter in the web address. Since my business is so small, we don't have a web address. I'm just going to input none. That's all you have to do. Then you would put in the contact information of your insured. So if there's any notices that have to be sent, it could be sent to them. And then you would click on continue. So it will then basically log my submission there. So there are 3 quick little questions. These are just kind of determination questions about whether or not the cover can apply. So this is a brief warranty, but again, recall that the insured must affirm the information later. You have the option of doing a save and exit if you wish to come back, or you can simply continue. And then you would, at this point, select the limits of liability and deductibles that you seek the cover for. So we're just going to go with the defaults here. Currently, we do not have a coverage in force. I'm just going to click all the radio buttons no. You can select each of the coverages and the limits that you desire. Kind of going through here. Whoops. No. 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 And one last one. And I'll click continue. If you had any additional comments, if you're looking for some options, or if there was coverage consideration that you have, you could place those in there at this point. You get the opportunity to select when you would like this coverage to be in effect. So since I need my cyber insurance now, I'm going with today. This gives you the kind of it's a reprint off of all the things that you've identified. You click the little affirmation there, and you click submit application online. That's all that it takes. And then it will then process in the background. Right now it is actually logging, clearing, and developing the document of the indication. And then in about 3 to 5 minutes, the agent, would receive the indication in your email. And that's all there is to it. So I just want to hit real quick. I think we're kind of running low on time. Just a couple of recent cyber claims and trends. Been kind of fun this past quarter. We did have a HR department of a contractor that was tricked into an email to release W-2 information on all their employees from the prior year. The HR department thought that they were receiving a directive from their CEO, but actually it was a hacker who had created a phish email that looked just like the CEO's email, his same address and all that, and they they discovered it after the HR department asked the CEO afterwards, hey, what would you need of that? And he said, I didn't request that. So that was a data breach event we recently had. We had a ransomware virus. We had a couple of them actually pop up. This was just a simple virus that's typically residing under compromised documents and videos. But all of them launched into an encryption of both network access and client records. And we've incurred somewhere between $15,000 and $26,000 in just simple forensic work and reconstruction work to bring their data back up whole again. And then just seen a variety of wire fraud schemes. We've been seeing a couple of targeted actions against real estate closings. I've seen a couple of contractors get targeted again, trying to purport to be them. They're falsing. The scammer is purporting to be a vendor or a new vendor relationship, and to obtain funds that way. And we've seen a couple where any business with an international operation, they've been targeted specifically for wire fraud schemes. That's kind of the stuff we've been seeing. And then, of course, I want to detail any of the available resources that we've built for both the insureds and the agencies out there trying to produce our cyber insurance. We have, again, that data response team. It's led by our legal team partner, Mullen Coughlin. They offer to every single insured a hotline that is available 24/7, 365 to answer any basically any cyber event questions. If it's a genuine problem, they can talk you off that cliff, and they can give you some pertinent advice, and they can walk your insured through the claim reporting process as necessary. And then for our agencies, who we recognize the challenge in selling cyber insurance, so we put together a variety of marketing materials that I think has been very helpful in presenting the cyber products to your insureds. Everything from videos to claim scenarios to frequently asked questions and a variety of additional resources. I highly recommend you pop over to our website and see what all it may offer. And then, of course, here's your cyber team. There's myself, Dennis, Mark, and Zach. We're available at any time. That's our phone numbers and emails. If you have problems, questions, needs, please don't hesitate to call. And with that, I'd like to open the floor to any questions that anybody might have. Questions on either program or just general cyber questions that you might have while you're sitting there.
Hi, Jason. We do have two quick questions. I know we are a little short on time, so we'll be quick. One is, do you accept competitor applications?
We do. So we can accept a similar quality competitor's application. So if it's a class of business that requires the more in-depth application, say it's a retail business, if the competitor's application has the appropriate questions and information that's necessary, that would qualify under our program, we can accept a currently signed new business application. There are some questionnaires out there that ask very limited information, and that obviously wouldn't meet the threshold of competitor app. But for the most part, we can accept pretty much every competitor application out there.
Okay, I'll just throw in another one. What is the minimum premium?
So our minimum premium, it starts at $750. Like I said, it's admitted. There's no additional fees or taxes involved in that premium. And that premium is, it doesn't matter on the limit of liability selected. So if you've got a little bit of a larger insured, let's say you've got that Jason Buca real estate office of about $2 million in revenues, if they simply had just a $750 budget for cyber liability insurance, we could offer a lower limit option of, say, $250,000 limits, and would come in very close or at that minimum premium, that threshold. Or we can offer, again, a smaller insured, the full $1 million limits for $750.
Okay, we are out of time. There are a couple other questions that were sent in, so I will email these directly to Jason, and he can reach out to you with the answers and explain any other information you may need. So I think we are good to go. Thank you all very much for joining.
Thank you.